What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Bet on Us. I'm Sab. He's BK. Let's start off with some baseball. Let's get right into it. Our Mets
Yeah,
and our
buddy.
Yankees coming off some big wins last night. I'll let you start with the Mets. You've been chomping at the bit for the last 12 hours to
That's
talk
true.
about them. So go ahead. Big win
I
last
know.
night. They scored like 100 runs last night.
Dude, these guys are giving me heart palpitations, but that's why we love the Mets, man. I remember when we were recording our recap from last week, I said, I hope the Mets win. I think that they're going to, win in New York, game one, game two. Or I guess in New York it was 3 and 4.
Right.
They lost them both. But I said to you, I said, even if they lose them both and they go down 3-1, I still got the Mets because this has been a microcosm of their whole year.
Right.
And for people that don't follow baseball, remember the Mets going into the summer were the worst team in baseball. I mean, not counting the Chicago White Sox, but you look at the slump that they had, it was awful. They come back. You look at clawing into the postseason, the wild card, the heroics against the Phillies. Like this is their DNA is to get their back against the wall. Everybody almost count them out, and then that magic starts to happen.
Mhm.
And yeah, the bats came alive yesterday. Savvy, they did not have a strikeout.
That was insane. I was at work
That's
watching, and every time I looked up, make a couple drinks, look up, they had another run or two on the board, and I was like, my goodness, they did not want
crazy.
to go down. They did not want to go
No,
down.
no,
No,
and obviously I'm biased here as the Mets fan, but we're going back to LA for game 6 and game 7. I'm saying it right now, that'll happen too. And the reason why is I think we actually have an advantage. We got Mania on the mound tomorrow night, who has been lights out.
yeah,
And he's a true starting pitcher. And then you're going to go in, they're going to win that. And then they're going to go into game 7, and they have their entire bullpen ready to go. They can do starter after starter after starter,
yep,
go into really good traditional bullpen with Stanek, closer Diaz. They've got a lot of live arms that will be ready for Monday night. Whereas the Dodgers, their pitching has been their Achilles heel. They're just kind of this by committee. They're going into game 6 saying, we don't even know who we're putting up there. And I just think that plays so much to the Mets' favor as long as they hit the ball.
yeah,
Um,
and
then we'll be
all
good.
the pressure is on the Dodgers in Game 6. All of it, like you said, with
Hmm.
the pitching aspect, the Mets bats coming alive in Game 5 like they did. And Mania being the postseason pitcher he's been, or the pitcher in general over the last couple months, especially,
Yeah.
they need to jump on whoever. I don't know who. So they need to jump on Mania quick in Game 6, or else if he settles in, they go 2 or 3 innings with no runs on the board. Then that crowd's going to start to get a little uneasy. Then the Mets are going to
Yep.
say, "Hey, wait a minute, we got a shot here." Not that they don't think they have a shot anyway, but and then if Lindor can get them going right away, I mean,
Yes.
this series just went from over to very interesting in a
Yes.
matter of innings last night,
And
for
I'll tell
sure.
you two more things. One is an advantage, another advantage of the Mets I'm going to call out, and then another is almost an observation or request I have as a fan. The first thing is they've been saying all along for the Mets to win, they got to get out early. Just like
Mm-hmm.
they did yesterday with Alonso getting that 3-run dinger, and it was like,
Right
here
off the
we
bat.
go, baby.
Yep.
Now we're going to LA, and you think, oh man, we lost our home field advantage. The Mets are up first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think when you come up first, if they can get a
Is that how that
run,
works?
2 runs on the board, all right,
Yeah.
I think that just helps them out because they want that lead. And when you're up first, you're receiving the kickoff, if you will.
Yeah.
You
Right.
got that chance to score. And I think that will really put Mania in a sweet spot. If they can get a first inning run,
Yeah.
that's huge. That would
Yeah.
be huge.
Even if they get some base runners, like if you can get Lindor on base real quick, and even if they get, first and third, nobody out, and say they don't get
Get
any runs,
walks.
but they're
Get a
right,
walk.
like just get on base. And I'm telling you, the more innings the Dodgers go without scoring, which obviously doesn't happen very often. They're obviously
Mhm.
amazing lineup. Otani leads off, for goodness sakes. That pressure's it's gonna happen, and the Dodgers have folded on that pressure in the past, time after time, kind of like my Yankees, which we'll get into in a little bit. But
Yeah,
it's interesting, man. I'm very excited for that game tomorrow. Very
so am
excited
I.
for it.
And the closing thought, and this was kind of my fan request,
Yeah,
the pitcher's got to throw strikes. That's
yeah,
been the thing that when the Mets get in trouble, it's because they got a man on first, then a man on first and second, both by walks.
right.
And that's like, then with that lineup, as a pitcher, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even put the ball there. I'm throwing up a 3-run homer. So they got to throw strikes. They got to be aggressive. The thing I really, really want to see that's kind of driven me nuts is they have really good starters, but Mendoza has kind of been in this routine where when they get to the third or fourth inning and they get a couple guys on base, they give up a run. He has a tendency to pull the starting
Pull them.
pitcher.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
that's like postseason always. I feel like not to interrupt, but like you'll see a guy, even Garrett Cole for the Yankees. He'll go 7, 8 strong in the regular season. They won't even think about it. He'll throw 110 pitches, and then he's like in
yeah.
the fourth inning with like 45 pitches, and he gets a base runner around. They got guys in the bullpen going. I'm like, what are you doing? Like it's not.
I
You
don't
want
get
your
it.
best guys out there. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Exactly. That has been it's been driving me nuts because I'm like, I understand you want these live arms, but if you have an ace and he gets in a bit of a jam, couple guys on base, only one out, he gave up a run. Now it's pressure time. It's like let him have the chance to work through it
Right.
rather than bring in a reliever that's nowhere near that caliber and then that guy gives up a 3-run homer. And it's
Yeah.
because this is what you saw with Quintana, a
Hmm.
couple days ago, and it was like give him a chance because he couldn't have done worse.
Right.
He couldn't have done worse than I can't remember the reliever that came in. So I would just love to see like if tomorrow if Mania gets in a jam, he gives up a run, gives up 2 runs, give him another inning.
Yeah.
Don't go straight to the pen. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but that would be my
Yeah.
only like please keep that in mind.
You'd let the guy try and get out of the jam in the middle of May. Why wouldn't you let him try and get out of the jam in the playoffs when it matters most? When you got your best guy out there, who you trust all the time, except in the playoffs, it just doesn't make sense. But
I know.
we'll
I
see
know.
what
They had
happens.
on
Should be a good one.
the fan the other day, they had Matt Harvey on, who I was never a big Harvey guy, the
No.
Dark Knight. And that's what they were talking about is remember in the World Series, he demanded that he go in for the ninth inning. When they were down 3-1 in the World Series, he went back in the ninth inning and lost that game.
Right.
But just to have that conversation that your starter is going into the ninth inning, that wasn't that long ago. Now it's like you get to the fifth inning and it's like, wow, what a
Oh no.
game.
What are we doing? Yeah. We got to put some guys in the bullpen. Hurry. He's got 65 pitches. Hurry up. He's he's
But
averaging 110 each start. But oh my God. Yeah. It's just crazy. But
I
let's
don't get
shift
it.
gears. Let's shift gears now.
Do
We've
it.
talked enough National League. Let's go over to the American League, where the Yankees just played 2 unbelievable games in Cleveland. Uh, even if you're the casual baseball fan, and especially I had a guy at the bar say he's like, man, for a guy he's a Cardinals fan, he said for somebody that doesn't have a dog in the fight to watch that game 4, or I think no, sorry, game 3 actually. Game 4 was
Mm.
great too last night, where Judge hits the tying homer, Stanton hits the go ahead homer. And then the Indians, the Indians, sorry, the Guardians. I'm gonna have a visitor here. It's gonna happen. We're gonna talk
That's
Yankees.
okay.
We're gonna talk Yankees with the boy here. Okay,
There we go,
um,
Tito.
it's all good. All right, we're gonna talk Yankees. Right, we were watching it the other night. He's a late owl. He stays up. Anyway, so he's waving. So game 4, game 3, Judge hasn't hit a clutch hit in the playoffs his whole life.
Mhm.
Finally gets one. I'm like, yes, he finally did it. Then Stan comes up, hits the home run. I'm like, we are good. This is going to be a sweep. No big deal. They get another insurance run in the ninth. I'm like, all right, we're good. The Bronco game was coming on. I switched it to my phone. I'm like, we're good. I'm like, I don't need to worry about this. And then it just totally collapsed. The 2-run homer given up in the ninth, and then they
The
get in the
backbreaker,
extras,
man.
and then another 2-run homer to win it. And I'm just like, man, Judge finally gets off the schneid. He does something that is up. Yes, he does something of relevance in the playoffs, and then it's just all for naught after that. And
Yeah.
it was tough, and it was tough for me. I'm going, man. Now we're 2-1. Now it's like, how do you recover and go back the next day after that? Just that was a brutal loss. They could have
Yeah.
literally just hung their heads and been like, here we go again,
Takes it all out of
another
you.
another October collapse for the Yankees. That's what I was thinking. And then they come out last night and Juan Soto right off the bat, no pun intended, 2-run blast in the first inning. Everybody's
That's
pumped up. They're
just
back to locked in. Austin Wells adds another homer in the second. And then you're up 6-2, and you're going, all right, we're good. Stanton crushes a 3-run homer. And then the Guardians just don't quit. They come right
no
back, score 4 runs, and tie the game. And then in the ninth, the Yankees end up winning it. But I mean, I mean,
amazing postseason.
you take uh seconds, minutes, days off your life watching these games. It's like I'm in bed and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me! Just end this thing. And then the last out of the inning, the guy fumbles the ball and then throws it. And I'm like, God, we can't even get a clean play at second. Which, by the way, another stupid move by Aaron Boone, taking Gleyber Torres out of the game. You're up by 2 runs. He gets a single, and you take him out on first. Which let's say the run. I mean, every run counts in the playoffs, obviously, right? But if that run didn't mean anything, you already have the lead. So why would you take out your second baseman, who's a decent fielding second baseman, and put in a guy that
Yeah.
barely plays that position? and then he almost fumbled the game away and kept it alive. And I'm just like, God,
What's the
this guy.
play there? Yeah, I mean, you
So
know the Yanks better than I, but is it? Are you getting a better base runner, a better hitter? Like what?
well,
Why?
so he had Birdie in there for Rizzo. He had Rizzo pinch run for, which made sense because the game was still it was tied, I believe, at the time. But
Yep.
then you're already up, and you put Oswaldo Cabrera in to play first for Rizzo. I guess that was that was the thing, and then Birdie moved to second. Birdie has played first, just not a lot. But it's
Mm.
just something that if you're trying to, the game is in hand. It's you're up by two going into the bottom of the ninth. Defense, defense, defense. You got to preserve it. Why take the worst? Why put a worse defender out there when you? And it almost cost him. If he fumbles that away, a run scores, and there's two men on and they're down one with two outs, and then anything could happen. So it's
Yeah.
just Aaron Boone to me and to all Yankee fans out there. I know they're gonna be sitting here. Thank you. Somebody say it. We have been winning in spite of him for the last 5 years
Really?
and losing because of him a lot in the playoffs because of the
Those are
bonehead
bold words,
moves.
man.
What's that?
I said those are some bold words
Well,
right
it's
there.
true because then he puts Clay Holmes in last night, who gave up the two-run homer to the guy that ends the guy the previous night, Fry. Comes in, he strikes him out, great, and then he gives up the lead right after that again. It's like Clay Holmes. If you're an opposing team and you see Clay Holmes coming up and you're down 3 runs, you might as well say, "Sweet, we're gonna tie this game," because it's gonna happen. And it's just unbelievable, man. The amount of times that he makes these decisions. And I know I'm not a coach, I'm not a manager. Obviously, he knows better than me. Blah blah blah. But Clay Holmes, time and time again, in big spots, has failed. And it's just like, okay, let's maybe scoot this guy to the side, maybe. And he should have brought in Leiter before that. And Leiter was great. He got the outs. He made a fumble play, whatever, but throwing it to first to Rizzo, but
Yeah.
eventually got the job done. So,
That's what matters. But you talk about this Guardians don't quit the comebacks and stuff.
yes.
We're getting a Subway Series, Sab. I've been saying it
Dude,
for over a
we
month
are
now.
so close.
But imagine, imagine a Mets Guardians World
Oh,
Series.
yeah.
The two teams that just won't go away, and then they meet at the final dance. I
I don't
don't
want
think
to
it'll
live in a
happen, but
world
that
where
would be
that
something.
happens. I don't want to live in a
Well,
world where we got to watch Mets Guardians, and neither does Major League Baseball. Let's be real. I mean, let's be real. The Yankees, they
you
want the
think?
Yankees in, and then they don't care what happens in the NL because you had either Yankees Mets or Yankees Dodgers, and they're set as
Yeah,
far as ratings go. Obviously, Yankees
true.
Dodgers is what they want. They got both sides
You
of
think
the.
so?
I think so because you have
Well,
the
yeah, East
just
Coast, West Coast. I don't
West,
know. Like
yeah,
a part of me was thinking that
Otani and Judge.
there's so much just kind of aura around the Subway Series
Oh yeah,
that it was in my head. I'm like, do you think that there are some, not that a lot, there's not flags like there is in football, but you got an umpire back there that can make, some subjective calls. Do you think that there is any? Let me try and expand the strike zone for the bats, or
there's
to maybe make that Subway Series a little more possible.
Do you know who you're talking to? Of course there is. Of course that's happening.
The
Listen,
conspiracy
especially
theorists.
especially with them down 3-1 in the series, they're like, we gotta get the Mets. That was a big one for the Mets. That was a big one for baseball. Now they get to go back to LA. They get to sell those tickets for at least Game 6. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, look,
Yeah,
we've been saying it, and I'm not saying I don't want to be that show where we just talk about everything's fixed, everything's rigged. But since
that's
about
you.
20,
Don't bring me into that.
right? I'm
That's the
sorry.
sad mantra, not
I
BK.
always said, there's a little bit of rigged. You just gotta hope it's a little bit of rigged in your favor. But it's
Mhm.
situational, man. And yeah, they're gonna expand that strike zone because you want to see more baseball, and they want to. Money is at the center of all
Yeah,
this. But I think
but
either way,
like
I
I
think
mean,
baseball wins if the Yankees get in. Baseball wins either a Subway Series or the Otani Judge factor.
true.
The two best teams in baseball going at it, and the
Monster
East Coast West
payrolls,
Coast.
East Coast,
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So
think what was I going to say? There is that bit of like, hey, is anything rigged here? But one thing you could say about the Mets Dodgers, that doesn't matter. You
no.
got you got 9-0. You got,
Mm-hmm.
7-3. You got
10-2,
8-0. You got
11-6.
10-2, 12-6. Like
Tomorrow's going to be
these
24 to
scores.
17. Couple touchdowns thrown on the board.
It's just, I mean,
Uh,
it's wild. And then you look at the Yanks going to extra innings, and last night 6-6, like
yeah,
just two totally different storylines. But
yeah.
I've always struggled to really get into baseball, and I feel like I've never been more pumped about baseball
I
than
agree,
right
man.
now.
And it
Yeah,
helps when your team is in there in
of
the end, of
course.
course, for both of us. But
Yeah.
speaking of points, let's pivot a little bit. points
Yeah.
that on Thursday night I thought maybe there would be more points in the Mets Dodger game than Thursday night football even. But my Broncos, man, they put it on the Saints. Everyone's gonna say, well, they were supposed to win that game. No Derek Carr, no Chris Olave. Alvin
Hmm.
Kamara clearly was not 100%. But the Broncos, man, I mean, they had no Pat Surtain, their best corner in the league, best defensive player, and they just totally shut down the Saints, 33-10. Little backdoor cover on the over, which was brutal for you and me really.
Yeah.
As
What
far
was
as
the final score there?
33-10 was the final. So we were sitting
And
at
what were we
20,
at? 38? Was that?
37-37. So it was 33-3 with a minute and a half left, and the Saints took a touchdown to put us over. And it was just
Jeez.
it's interesting. Al Michaels even made a comment. He says there's going to be some people that like that and some people that hate that touchdown, and we were on
Yeah.
that hate side. But as
Yeah.
far as the Broncos covering, getting two or giving two, that was a no brainer. There was never a time in this game where I thought we were going to lose. The first drive, they came out and kicked the field goal, and I said it's over. I even said I'm like it's over, and I never say that in a Bronco game, but it just had that feel where the Saints just didn't look like they were ready on a short week, shorthanded like they were. But it keeps our streak alive. At least one of us hitting a Thursday night game for every single week so far. So if you are following us and following our picks, which a lot of people on TikTok actually have been, I've heard
Yeah.
seen a lot of comments saying, "All right, we're tailing," and then I get the messages and it's like, "Yeah, we did it again," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're rolling." And
Yeah.
so Thursday night's the way to go. If you're gonna follow us on anything, follow us on Thursday. Um,
True. True.
so
True.
and I just want to touch on the Broncos for a little bit on Bo Nix. He wasn't great by any means,
Hmm.
but we're at a point where if he can just get a little better each week and not turn the ball over, which he hasn't. Although Tyrann Mathieu had a easy interception that he dropped. It was a bad throw in the third quarter. We're gonna win football games, and that's what's been happening. Doesn't turn the ball over. We ran the ball for 250 yards on him. Javonte Williams looked like the Javonte Williams of old, which was nice. We got the Panthers next week. 5-3 looks good. If we lose to the Panthers, then we'll stop talking about the Broncos. But
Yeah.
at home against the Panthers, 5-3. Then you got the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Falcons after that. So this is a must win coming up. Um, I like where we're at. I know our over under on the
The
season for
Broncos are
win
4-3 right now.
4-3. Our over under on the season was
Winning
five and a
record.
half. 5.5 wins was our over under. I
They're almost
smashed
there.
every Bronco prop you can imagine except that one. I said we'll make the playoffs. I had Bo Nix over this, out of that, and of course I'm like, nah, the over under wins. We're gonna get that, but why touch it? Because that makes too much sense, right? But anyway, 5.5 was the way to go. It's all the way up to 8.5 now. They have us winning
Yeah,
nine
that's
games, so we are
another
actually
3 games.
favored to win 9 games and make the playoffs after 7 weeks. If you told me that before the season, I would have been like, let's take a step back. But
Now,
well,
just to
we're
play
there.
a little contrarian there,
Please.
um, is there a little Bronco fever going on that the person on the sidelines that could care less about the Broncos, is there a chance for them to take the under on that 9 wins
Well,
and say this team's not as good as that record shows it to be?
there's always a chance because when they move that line, they're saying, okay, well, 5.5 obviously was too low. They've already got 4 through 7 games. They're going to hit that in 3 weeks, and then with the Panthers coming up next week, you got to think they're at 5. But the schedule does get a little harder. You got the Chiefs. You got to play the Chiefs twice. You got to play the Chargers again in
Loss, loss.
LA.
Yeah,
Right. And then you play the Ravens, the Falcons.
loss.
So
Yeah.
there's some tough games coming up. So that's definitely a chance to get under that. I would definitely not be surprised if we went 8-9. Uh,
So maybe Sab, you could be the
yeah,
first diehard Broncos fan to skip the over a miserable 5.5 and then take the under on the
yeah,
9
and then
and
just
then have them get 10 wins
and
and
have them get
it
6
completely
wins and
screw it
win.
up.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I don't think I'll ever take the under on anything in my team, winning
Can't.
wise. Anyway,
Can't. Although I'll tell you what, with the Cowboys, I am getting pretty damn close, man, because thank goodness for the Mets because I just can hardly even stomach what is going on in Dallas.
thank goodness
And
for this bye week right now. They need a bye
yeah,
week more than any team ever. I think just to
dude, I
regroup.
don't even know.
Well, because if you can sit, yeah, they're like, oh, you can dwell on this loss. Now you got to 47-9. I mean, it's the second time really that you've gotten, I guess, blown out. Got blown out by the
Mhm.
Saints. Almost got blown out by the Ravens if it wasn't for that big comeback. I think it's a good week for them to have the bye week to kind of do some soul searching and say and look in the mirror. I'm
But what are
talking
you
to you.
searching for?
Well,
What
you're
do you?
searching for
Dak is
something,
Dak. Dak is Dak.
something.
CD's getting pissed off at everybody. They have no running back whatsoever. The offensive line is eh. Their defense has just fell apart,
You
and
have
now they got
absolutely
injuries.
just you have jumped ship. You are done. I'm trying to be the positive guy here. What has
So
happened?
what? I got nothing to go on, Sam.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
being a realist. I've done the positive Cowboys fan thing for
I
30
like
years,
this
and it
Brian. I
sucks.
like this Brian. The realist Brian is what we've needed for a long time. He's here.
Yes, and I got to
He's
do it. I
made it.
got to do it for our fans and our followers, man.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
let's switch real quick. It's Saturday again, guys.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
almost all the time we record our weekend show Saturday morning. Try and get you a little bit of college action.
Oh yeah.
So we can squeak some in. I'm going to give you a few of mine, but what I'm going to start with, and this is maybe if you're listening live, as soon as we record this, because you pretty much have to, game's coming up in about 20 minutes. We
Hmm.
got the U taking on Louisville. Miami is ranked number 6th. I know that their wins lately have not been that great. I mean, it looks like they're just getting
Yeah.
by some mediocre teams, but guys, they're ranked 6th in the nation. Their quarterback is still a stud. They're Miami. I think that they're going to get back on the wagon of winning big time. Maybe they do that today, but my point being, they're playing unranked Louisville, not looking too good, and the line, depending on who you're with, is -4.5 or
Hmm.
-5 for Miami. All right. Can Miami beat Louisville by a touchdown? I sure hope so.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to kick off our weekend slate with.
I
That's
like
my
that.
first pick. I'm just kind of rolling it out there. I got the U covering -4.5. I think that's an easy spread
Hmm.
against Louisville. So let's start there. And Sab, I don't know if you got anything for the college
I
slate.
actually do. I actually do. It's rare for me, and I'm going back to the college game with a familiar team that I did my last college pick with in that Alabama Georgia game. The 3:30 game, Alabama at Tennessee.
Mm,
Alabama coming off 2 games. One, they lost to Vanderbilt, awful loss. They haven't lost to them in 100 years or whatever it was. They finally lose to them. Then last week, South Carolina. They barely escape at home against South Carolina. So
hmm
but then you go on the other side and you look at Tennessee. They played my Gators last week. The Gators, with basically a backup quarterback, had no business being in that game. They should have won the game. Again, another coach, just a coaching blunder by Billy Napier. You're down by a point with 27 seconds left, and you don't try and go for two for the win on the road. Whatever, end up losing in overtime. I digress. The Gators are not worth me talking about on this show. Uh, Alabama going into Tennessee, 3:30. All the eyes on them. The spread, if you wherever you're at, it's been going back and forth. It's been -2.5. It's been -3. It's been -2.5. Got it at -2.5. Alabama by a field goal against Tennessee. Are you kidding me? Alabama's coming out hungry. I am not sold on Tennessee. I think they might be one of the worst top 10 teams I think I've ever seen. Their quarterback is not very good. He continuously misses open guys. I saw it in the Gator game. I saw it against the Arkansas. He's just not. To me, he's just not it for them. And I think Alabama exposed them to. I think they get back on track. They play in a good team. Alabama plays to their opponent usually. You saw what they did to Georgia. Obviously, almost blew it, but they were crushing them. Now you got Tennessee. I believe correct me if I'm wrong. I think actually they're up to number 11, but I'm not entirely sure. I know they're ranked high enough to be a top game on TV today. Give me Alabama
hmm
-2.5. You know me. I love me some Jalen Milroe. I think he comes out firing. He's the only player in football right now, and one of the few in the past, I think, 20 years to have 2 touchdowns running and 2 touchdowns passing in each
Yeah,
game. That's
he's
insane.
crazy. He's
I,
Lamar Jackson style.
if the running back
Lamar
from
Jackson
Boise
with muscles on
with
steroids.
yeah, exactly, with an arm and
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. He's all right. But with that, yeah, give me Alabama -2.5. I love that play today. I think
Okay.
they come out big and that's my college pick for the day.
Gotcha.
So if you want to
Gotcha.
roll off the rest of your
Well,
weekend specials, we can do that if you have any.
yeah, I'm going to give you one more in the college arena.
Okay.
One thing I just wanted to share. I don't know if I know there's some people that are all about the service academies, and then there's others that
Oh,
don't really pay mind. Guys, Army is ranked 23.
yeah.
Navy is ranked 25. Neither team has a loss.
No.
So give it up for Army and
Oh
Navy.
man, you
That
gotta
Army
love
Navy
that.
game this year could actually be sick.
So
Usually you just get the fullback dive, the triple option, see that 100 straight times.
real quick on
That's gonna be a fun game.
that Army Navy game is going to cause some issues if they keep winning. So, real quick, I don't know if you know this. They play that after the college football playoff. They play that before the national championship. They always play that late.
No,
So,
no.
Yes, so
Do
they were
they?
so they were talking about it on the radio that they said if these two teams are undefeated, say they're undefeated going into the last week of the season or whatever it is. Now, I don't know
Yep.
if they don't play a conference championship game, I don't think, or whatever, but you're going to have to play that game before the college football playoff because there's 12 teams, right? 12 teams make it, and you have two service academies undefeated. And if they either of them want to have a chance at being in the playoff or at least being considered, they got to play that game before they do the last picks or whatever it is for the
Yeah.
playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they'll go undefeated. I don't really know what their schedules look like, but the fact that they're undefeated and ranked this far into the season's got to be the first time in a long time. They
It's
need to
crazy.
play those. They need to play that game a little earlier. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. If one
Well,
of the
you know
teams
what?
loses, it might not matter.
I
But
I believe Navy plays Notre Dame every year.
okay,
I
they
think
do.
that's a
Yes, that's right.
tradition.
So
That
that's the
and
big one.
that's the one that kind of spices it up a little bit because
Right.
Army doesn't really have a game like that on their
No.
schedule,
Mm-mm.
where Navy always does. And traditionally, it's like once in a blue moon, Navy upsets Notre Dame, the place goes wild. There's all
Right.
this Americana. It's great.
Yeah.
Now, if Navy wins, that's not. I wouldn't call that an upset. That would be a legit team beating
No.
another big time program.
Right.
So I wanted to throw another one out there for you guys on the NCAA slate. Don't have a lot of things that I'm like particularly keen on other than the U. I already went there. I know that's coming up very soon. We got obviously Texas, Georgia.
Oof.
I think Texas wins the game. Are they covering a spread? I don't know if I want to mess around with that. Georgia burnt me once already against
Yeah.
Alabama when we split.
It's gonna be a hell
Anyways,
of a game.
that's going to be a sick game, but I think Texas is rolling. If you said, Brian, give me one more, I want to see one more. Not ultra confident, but again, I cannot stand this Colorado team. I said it weeks ago. I'm tired of all the fanfare and the hysteria. They
Yeah.
became the Cinderella story, and now half the country hates them.
Uh huh.
They play Arizona today, and Arizona is just a 2-point favorite. You know, I'm just not sold on Colorado. If you want one more pick, I'll tell you, I think Arizona can cover that -2 spread against Colorado. That's coming up at 4 Eastern. So give me Arizona in that one.
That's an early game for that. For Arizona, I think I'm pretty sure every week after I put Izzy to bed, I have the TV on, and Arizona's always playing. So they're always late. So that's an
Yeah.
early game. So that's gonna be interesting. It's the game's at Arizona, right?
I don't know where it is.
Uh,
I don't care where it is,
if
but it's
it's
at 4 o'clock
it's
somewhere over in the Midwestern part of the country. And
it's the
Arizona's winning that game because Colorado sucks, and I'm
It
tired
doesn't
of hearing
matter.
about
It
it.
doesn't matter where it is. If they're -2, I'm assuming it's at home. But
Yeah.
maybe not. But either way, that's a 1 o'clock start. That's an early start, so that'd be interesting.
Yep. Yeah,
So
so and guys, I know there's hockey fans out there too. I'm gonna get you hockey stuff coming up soon, but we just got so
NBA
much
starting
sports
too,
to talk
baby.
about. Yeah,
NBA starting up.
this show is gonna get wild, Sab.
Yeah, it's gonna
But
be.
let's
It's
go
gonna
to
be
NFL. Tomorrow
yeah.
is Sunday. Tomorrow is what we're really psyched up about.
Oh yeah.
I just can't get on with the Cowboys, so I'm gonna hand it off to you before I get
Okay.
angry. Talk, Sab.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll start with some specials. We'll finish those up. I've got 3 NFL specials for you. We're going to
Sweet.
start at 1 p.m. Eastern game, a big game in the NFC North. It's the Lions against the Vikings. I'm not going to pick the game, but I do have a prop that, to me, is almost foolproof. Nothing's ever foolproof, right? And here's why I say that. The Lions and Vikings have played each other 8 times since Justin Jefferson's been on the Vikings. Justin Jefferson has 1,073 yards against the Lions in those 8 games. That's 134 yards a game against the Lions.
Sheesh.
So his over under is at 92.5 right now. Where am I going? I'm obviously smashing that over. Do we buck the trend by doing that? Maybe, but he's never been under that in a game against the Lions. You might even want to throw an anytime touchdown in there. He scored in every game except one. He missed the against the Jets in London. That's the only one he missed. So 92.5 yards. Give me Justin Jefferson over that. I think that's a home run. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. We'll go into the pick 'em later, but I did pick the Lions in that one, but we'll talk about that later. Then we got the Super Bowl rematch at 4:30
Can't
tomorrow. The
wait.
49ers and
Can't wait.
Chiefs. The spread's been like 1 point. It was a pick 'em earlier in the week. Now it's -1.5 or -1. Don't mess with the point. Take the money line, take the 49ers on the money line against the Chiefs. Why do I say that? Because it's not the Super Bowl. And the Niners will probably win because it's not the Super Bowl. If this was the Super Bowl, we'd probably be
Oh,
talking different. The Chiefs don't need this game. The 49ers desperately need it after last year. Heartbreaking loss against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The 49ers, they'll talk, I'll say it's just another game. It's not. They want the rematch. They want the revenge, if you will. And the Chiefs, of course, they come into play every week, but the Chiefs don't care. This game's not in January. If this game was in January, or the game is in February, I should say, I'd probably take the Chiefs, but it's not. It's in October. Give me the Niners on the money line. I think Brock Purdy has a big day. And then
Okay.
lastly, I don't. I'm gonna regret doing this because I'm the guy that says life's too short to bet unders, right?
Yes, we've heard
But
that
I'm
many
gonna do
times.
it. Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh. The Jets go to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, I believe, is starting for the Steelers against the Jets. Justin Fields went 4-2, played pretty well. I thought well enough to keep his job. But
I
that's
don't understand that. I've talked to people. I don't care about the Steelers, but I don't get
yeah.
why Russell Wilson's coming in.
No,
I thought
and
Fields got hurt. I was like, did I miss something?
no,
That
he did
you
not.
know?
And they asked Justin Fields about it. And he said he didn't think he'd be an ultimate team guy. He says he didn't think he played well enough to keep it. I don't know if Russ gave him $1 million to say that, but um,
Yeah.
give me the under in that game, 39.5. Are you kidding me? There's no way they get 40 points in this game. Devontae Adams is back for the Jets. I get it. But that's going to take some time. They're going to have he's probably going to have some, 5 or 6 catches, I'm sure, but I don't think they're going to blow the doors off. That Pittsburgh
Mhm.
defense is unbelievable. TJ Watt can take over a game by himself. Jets defense is no slouch either. They're a great defense. 2 great defenses going at it. And then you got Russell Wilson on this side of the ball where I can tell you firsthand he doesn't know how to move the football anymore for an offense. So give me the under on that game. Steelers and Jets on Sunday Night Football. Again, I'm probably going to regret doing that, but I'm doing it. Do you have any other plays on NFL? Did we go through yours already? You got all 4 years in?
We didn't touch mine. No. I don't think I'm going to give you 4 this week. I gave
Okay.
you a couple college picks.
Right.
I'm going to get a little crazy here. I wanted to say I got the Chiefs just winning on
Okay.
tomorrow, Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
They're my pick. I'll say that right now. I don't know if I want to call that my special.
Right.
Um,
Well, it would
if
be
you want,
it would be
what's that?
technically an upset pick if you go by the spread, but the Chiefs are never an upset. Let's be real.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what? Why don't we do that?
Okay.
I'll give you something spicy for you guys out there.
Spice it
Give
up.
me the Chiefs, and we're going to turn it into a little parlay.
Oh boy.
You can get like about plus 120, plus 130 odds on Mahomes throwing over 250 yards. I think the over under for his passing somewhere around like right at 240, depending what
Hmm.
book you're looking at. I'm just Mahomes is the legend, man. And I think when there's a big game, I know it's not the Super Bowl, but it's the Niners. It does mean something, I think that the Chiefs win, and I think Mahomes throws for, the over, over 240. I think he'll throw over 250 if you want to
Hmm.
get a little extra money. Parlay those together. Now you got a really nice bet with a Chiefs win and Mahomes getting 250 plus passing yards. So give me that one.
You got to
And
think
then
if
the
they
other
win, he
one,
throws for a lot of yards. You got to think. I mean, they got no running
there you
back,
go.
so
No, nobody. That's,
Kareem Hunt. But I
he
mean,
controls that team.
yeah,
And I think it's going to be a good game. So I think he's going to keep passing. I don't think it's going to get lopsided one way
yeah.
or the
No, it
other.
should be a great game.
If you want one other one, this I want to give you part because of my fantasy team that I'm like, come on, guys. The Jaguars, I've been trying to push this team to victory for 7 weeks now.
Never gonna learn.
Uh, they are playing the basement of the NFL in the New England Patriots, and they are a 6-point favorite. This is, excuse me, I think it's the London game tomorrow.
Yes,
Um,
done in
so you
like
know
20
what?
minutes, I think.
I think you know what, I'm going to give you 2 parlays here. All right, I was straight up on the college side. On the NFL side, we got Mahomes passing and Chiefs winning. I'll do the same exact thing in the morning. Give me the
Okay.
Jaguars covering the 6-point spread. All right, Jags winning by at least 6. And Trevor Lawrence, he was somewhere close. I should find the exact number for you on what the over under for his passing was. I believe. Let's see. He's also right at about 239.
That's what I was saying,
Depending
like
on your
240.
book. Yeah, if you want to go again, do the 250 plus, just mimic my Chiefs Mahomes bet. You can get plus 130 there. So give me the Jags covering -6, and give me Trevor Lawrence having a bit of a breakout game this year with over 250 yards passing.
All right.
So I'm throwing, these aren't Hail Marys, but these are deep balls. I'm throwing deep balls,
Anything,
Zach.
I think we're at the point where anything Jags related is considered a Hail Mary, but yeah, I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. The Patriots' pass defense isn't great, so
No, they suck.
that would make sense if you and both of
They
those
suck.
instances, if they're gonna win, they're gonna be passing. So,
Yeah.
so let's get into the pick'em. Week 7 pick'em. 12-1 last week for me.
Crazy.
Greatest week.
Crazy. I want to
And
see some comments out on the social media sphere, maybe who followed you.
yeah,
Because if we followed you last week, you made money. As long as you
yeah,
weren't just doing some ridiculous 13 like parlay like we do, and you did
which I
even a
should have
teaser.
done, but I would have lost because of the Broncos. But yeah, that man, 12-1. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So guys out there, if you're listening, maybe this is a week you follow Sab and you just do a little teaser.
yep.
Give yourself a 1 or 2 game
Pick 4 or 5
forgiveness.
even. Get silly. We'll see. We'll see if we can replicate it. So we'll start in the London game. Give me the Jags over the Patriots. I like Drake May. He looked pretty good last week, but I don't think they get the win. Jags are desperate for a win. Bengals going to Cleveland. Cleveland's an absolute mess. Bengals look like they're kind of getting it together, maybe. So give me the Bengals. Slight upset. I think the Lions give the Vikings their first loss this week. Give me the Packers over the Texans. That's going to be a hell of a game. Packers are at home, though. Jordan Love's looking real good. Give me the Packers.
Mhm.
Colts over the Dolphins. That game is a. They're talking about firing the coach if the Dolphins lose that game, which I think is a little crazy, seeing how Tua has been hurt. But that's a big game for the Dolphins. But I don't think they get it done. Give me the Colts at home.
Mhm.
Eagles. Give me the Eagles winning. I believe they're playing the Giants, so
They
that's an
are.
easy one for me. Give me the Falcons over the Seahawks. Seahawks are reeling. They started 3-0. They're 3-3 now. Geno Smith is who we thought he was. Give me the Falcons. Give me
Yes.
the Bills over the Titans. That's an easy one. I think the Bills can win that one by like 2 touchdowns if they don't play with their food, which they like to do. Commanders, another team that should win by 2 touchdowns against the Panthers. Jaden Daniels, man, what a pick. I mean,
Yeah.
what a player he's become.
And
He's
seeing
fun to
not to
watch.
interrupt, but you see guys like this that come right in
Yeah.
and control the game, and it makes me look at Dak and be like,
Uh,
why are
he
we
just
so beholden to Dak?
He looks so comfortable out there, like he's been playing for 10 years. It's unbelievable. He's so
Yeah,
good,
the
and
young talent is
you just
crazy.
pray that he stays healthy.
Yep.
That's all you hope for. Give me the Rams over the Raiders. The Raiders are an absolute mess. You love to see it. Like I said earlier, give me the Niners over the Chiefs. I'm gonna take the Jets tonight. I reluctantly,
Sunday night. Yep.
I'm banking on Russell Wilson not being good. That's basically what
Mhm.
I'm doing, and I think
Like it.
Rodgers will make a few more plays than Russ tonight.
Mhm.
And then on the Monday night, there's a double dip on Monday night. Give me
Yes,
the
there is.
give me the Bucs over the Ravens. The slight upset. They're at home. I like the Bucs. Baker's playing out of his mind. They scored 51 last week. Give me the Bucs. I like them at home. I think the Ravens are due for a little bit of a clunker. They've won 4 in a row. And then I'm going to take another upset, slight upset, but they are the home team. Give me the Cardinals over the Chargers. That's the 9 p.m. game. Give me the Cardinals at home. I think they right the ship. They've been a better team, different team at home than they are on the road. So give me the Cardinals against the Chargers. So that's my Week 7 pick 'em. What you got?
Sweet. All right, let me break it down here. We got some agreement, some disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the London game. Give me the Jaguars. As I said, I got them covering the spread, but give me the Jags. I will take the Eagles over the Giants. I am going to take the Lions over the Vikings. What they did to the Cowboys is crazy. I think they can squeak past the Vikings.
Yeah,
Give me the Bills easily over the Titans. Bengals over the Browns. I'm going to take the Texans over the Packers. I think CJ Stroud really has to kind of
that's
get
gonna be such a good game. It's gonna be
back
such a good
in,
game.
kind of controlling that
Yeah,
offense. I think he could do it. So Texans over Packers, Falcons over the Seahawks. Anytime it's close and Captain Kirk is involved, I'm taking the Falcons, baby. Give me
oh
them.
yeah.
Colts over Dolphins. That's an easy one. Commanders over Panthers. Easy. I will take the Rams over the Raiders. That's a game that I think can be a little weird.
That could be an upset special. Yeah, the Rams are a team that's not overpowering by any means. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what you mean there. Yeah.
but with that said, definitely taking the Rams. Chiefs or the Niners. Like I said, I'm really excited about the Chiefs. That's my home parlay back there. I am also taking the Jets over the Steelers. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Jets, if they can't click now, I mean, Rodgers has gotten everything the guy that wants.
Everything.
I don't know if you saw that meme. There's a meme going around where Devontae Adams is in bed hanging over Rodgers' shoulder. And he says, honey, it's time for bed. And Rodgers is going, wait, I can make management do one more thing I want.
It's so
It,
true though, man. Like he literally has gotten everything he wants. Everything.
yes. So I mean they got a good defense. Rodgers has it all at his disposal. And if you're gonna say, okay, let's let the D's cancel each other out, Rodgers
Right.
versus Russell Wilson, you got to go Aaron Rodgers. Come
And
on.
the weapons for the Jets compared to the Steelers. I mean, come on.
Yep. So we got the Jets there. I'm taking the Ravens. I think
Yep.
they're just a hell of a team, and Lamar is unique. So give me the Ravens over the Bucs. That'll be a fun one. And then I'm taking the Chargers over the Cardinals.
Chargers. Yeah.
And that's my week pick 'em for week 7.
Week 7 pick 'em. Well, listen, we got all our stuff in. This guy's just can't stay away, but that's
Yep,
okay.
we got a fan there.
Leaving towards the end here.
Any
Should be
closing
a great.
thoughts, Sam?
What's that?
I said, any closing thoughts? We got all our picks out
I'm
there.
just, like I said, we'll go back to baseball. Hopefully, the Yankees can close it out tonight. Hopefully, and not give me any more heart attacks, and we don't have to go back to New York or anything like that. And then your Mets start up tomorrow,
Yep.
and I'm telling you, they win Game 6. I think the
Yeah.
Dodgers got to close this out. They got to close this out tomorrow. They have to. The
But they,
pressure is all on them. So,
dude, it's crazy. I almost feel pressure as a Mets fan, but I've just been optimistic throughout. This
yeah,
is what this team is built for. Is when it's like count them out, they're down and out, and then everything kind of comes and clicks and they
yeah.
go. I'm so excited for that game tomorrow night and then Monday night. So
All right.
so stay tuned, guys. Everybody, keep subscribing, liking, sharing these picks and stuff. Let us know how you're doing. I
Yeah.
know you might hop on some of these. Sab had a killer week 6 pick 'em.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about what I just laid out for this week and what we got for college football. So keep tuning in, guys. And I'm BK. That's Sab. Another episode of Bet on Us. We'll see you next time.